Today we have the 2022 Kia EV6. It's their first pure dedicated EV. Now Kia's had EV before available, like the Niro, some plug-in hybrid action, but this EV6 is their first real attempt at a dedicated EV. And let me tell you, they did not disappoint. This EV6 is quite impressive for an EV, and there's a lot that we're gonna talk about. We're gonna take a full detailed look at the exterior, the interior, get it out on the road, see how it drives, and talk about the charging, the battery, and all that good stuff. Real quick before we get started, thank you so much for watching. My name is Nolan. I do full reviews like this every single week, and I put timestamps in the description below so you can skip around to whatever part you want, but let's jump into it. Welcome everyone to this Kia EV6. Let's take a look at all the exterior details. I'm going to talk about what different trim levels are too. Now, the different trims are the Light, Wind, or GT line, and this runs on the new electric global modular platform, and the starting price is going to be about $42,000, where this one is $53,000. Now coming right up front, first of all, differentiations between trim levels is going to be with this little grille. It doesn't really have a grille, but just the color, like gloss black and different things like that. There's no grille because we don't need one. And check out these daytime running lights. LED daytime running lights are going to be standard on every trim level, and LED headlights, and they're really nice and dimensional looking. One thing that really stands out to me is this big, massive curved hood with these huge wheel arches. And the top part of that running light is going to turn into your signal. And at night, I have a video of these headlights so you can see what they look like. They look really cool, but check out the video to see how well they do. Now, styling wise, I would love to know what you think. This has some unique styling, kind of a big bodied, wide fendered look, and this matte gray paint looks really nice. I like the way matte looks, but leave your thoughts down below. And wheels are gonna vary between 19 and 20 inch wheels, 20 inch only on all-wheel drive models, but they're built for efficiency. All the mirrors are gonna give you turn signals in them. They're also gonna be power folding, automatic power folding, heated, all the good stuff. And check out these door handles. These are actually designed to be flush. I have them open right now with it being unlocked, and I'll show you how those function and the automatic function on those a little bit later. But every door handle is a pop-out door handle like that. You even have a little black trim piece down here, and this tail light really feeds in from this reflector on the side. These are LED right here with these tail lights. What do you think of that? It's a really unique design, and you got this massive light bar running across to connect the tail lights in the back. Again, check these out at night because this car is very standout-ish at night. You've got the new Kia badging for 2022, GT line badge, EV6, and then even a little, the reverse light is down here. And dimensionally, you can see just how wide these wheels are. So this has the same wheelbase as the Kia Telluride, even though it's significantly smaller. It's only about 184.5 inches long. So it's about the same as the Mach-E in the Tesla Model 3 or Model Y, but just a tiny bit smaller. Now when it comes to the cargo area, you can hear it beeping, a smart lift gate where you don't even have to swipe your foot, don't have to wave anything. You literally just stand by the rear end. It'll beep a few times and then it automatically opens. That comes on the Wind and the GT line model. The base light model is only going to give you a manual lift gate. And you can turn that feature off if you want and just use a key fob or a button inside if you want to. Now as we move back to this cargo area and take a closer look, there's going to be about 24.5 cubic feet behind the second row. Not quite as much as some competitors, even with the seats folded, but you do get a cargo light, you get a 12-volt power outlet over there, and tabs to pull the seats down. There's also this tonneau cover that comes with it, which is a nice little addition to cover everything up. There's even a couple little tie downs in here like that one. There's no like dedicated hooks for like a grocery bag or something like that, which is a little bit disappointing. But underneath of here, you actually have a separate hidden little storage area. Nice little area right here, which is always good to see. And you can lift it up to get a little bit further under there. There's no spare tire in here, just a tire mobility kit, which I wish we could get a spare tire back here. But the nice thing is, like I said, you can fold these seats down just with these tabs like that. And you're gonna get about 50 cubic feet. Still less than some competitors, but not bad and definitely good for this size and just like overall dimension of a vehicle. The only thing I wish I could add is just maybe a 40-20-40 split instead of a whole 60-40 split. When you're all done in here, unlike other vehicles that have like a foot activated or a hand activated one, you can't just walk away and it'll close, but you can push this button right up here. Now when it comes to the key fob, here is the typical Kia key fob with the buttons on the side right here. Plus on this side you have a remote start button and the remote smart park assist I love how you have a remote start because it's EV, you're not going to waste any gas, and you can pre-cool or preheat the vehicle. Smart key is standard on every trim. But check this out, as I approach the vehicle, this top GT line automatically pops out the door handles. It's got flush door handles, they pop out, you just open it like that, and then when you're all done, you can press that or lock it. However, mirrors will automatically fold, you're good to go. These door handles are flush, which I'm not a huge fan of flush door handles because it's just a little extra mechanism that could go bad, but they're manual pop out with the lower trims. They only automatically pop out on this top trim. Now as we move into the front seats, you're going to get a couple different types of material options in here. So first of all, let me show you what we have on this one, this GT line. We've got a synthetic leather up here, we've got suede in the middle, and then it's synthetic leather wrapped around it in this two-tone look. I like the way they look, the way they feel. They've got a moderate amount of bolstering, a little bit more up here. Nice and soft too. And then the power adjustments, you've got your tilt and height, recline, and then just two-way lumbar support. This is standard on every trim. The light model is going to give you cloth seats with a synthetic material around that. Otherwise, you can even get these seats with the synthetic material here and then suede around it. You can kind of mix up the seats. The headrest isn't too bulky either. It's not too far forward. It just does not adjust one way or the other. It just goes up and down. One of the cool things is that even on the base light model, you'll get memory settings standard and heated seat standard, even in the US. Usually the US doesn't get heated seat standard, but we do with this one. Comfort-wise, these seats are good. I've had no complaints with them. I haven't been able to spend a super long time in them, but I like them. It's not invasive, not aggressive, they're wide enough. And I have this seat pretty low, and I'm 5'9", and this is how much room I have above my head. Not a ton. So something to maybe keep in mind. I got it all the way down now. There's just a little bit above me, so you'll want to get in here and test it out for yourself. It's possible that without the sunroof, you'll have a little bit more headroom though. One other nice thing is that the passenger seat gets power adjustment on the top two trims and lumbar support. You rarely see lumbar support for the passenger trim, or the passenger seat, at least on some vehicles. I mentioned the heated seats, which are right here. It's actually just kind of this weird touch sensitive gloss black. Otherwise, you have ventilated seats on the top two trims. So ventilated and heated standard, ventilated on the top two. The steering wheel, I'll talk more about this in a second, but it is manual tilt and telescoping, just like that. It's leather on every trim, and you can get a heated steering wheel optional. Now a quick dive into the back seat. There's actually some cheap material up here, even on this top trim, but you still get a padded armrest, a softly lined bottle holder, and the same nice looking seats that you get in the front, and there's pretty good legroom back here. Let me show you. Now sitting behind myself, I'm 5'9", and this is where I like to have that seat. I have it pretty low, so I don't have much for foot space, but legroom and knee space is really good. One thing I want to note is that the floor feels very tall to where I feel like my legs are elevated, kind of like I'm in the back of a third row seat or something. The battery is at the bottom of the floor, and I think that these seats are just a little too low. These seats can recline quite a ways. You'd have to move the tonneau cover if you want to do that, but you can lounge back, or if you sit up tall, I still have good headroom at 5'9". A couple of nice features is standard, you get air conditioning vents, one on each side. You've got these hard back mat pockets, and then each seat is going to give you a USB-C charging port. So you've got charging ports galore in this car. In the middle, we get this center folding armrest, nicely padded, and this nice little storage slash cup holder. I like this. This little design should probably be in more vehicles than the center armrest. And for those of you with car seats, this does have the anchors right here. They're not the easiest to access. They're kind of tight right there, but I can have my car seat with an extension piece where my wife likes to sit, and she'll have enough room. It's borderline touching my seat, but still regular car seats should fit pretty well for most people. Good news is you can get heated seats back here for the second row, but it's optional on the top trim. We don't have them in this model. All right, y'all, let's climb inside this EV6 and check everything out. So the interior is an interesting mix of materials and design with these large displays. Those are standard on every trim. Over on the door, you'll find your memory settings, all the necessary controls right here, automatic, one touch, front windows there, a good grab handle, and soft materials up here, good soft armrest here as well. The bottle holder actually has like a soft like felt lining in here. It's kind of small though. Even though it's small, my bottle does fit right there. It's just a tight fit, and there's not much else. Your typical controls to the left, like opening up your your charging door, your trunk, parking brake, etc. Steering wheel, like I said, can be leather wrapped. You've got radar cruise control stuff over here, lane centering, information controls, and then music controls and voice controls over here. And I'll talk about these paddles in the test drive. Those aren't actually like paddle shifters, those are regenerative brake paddles, which I'll talk about more later. Right in front of us, you get this massive digital display, over 12-inch display right here for every single trim level. It will kind of change depending on your drive mode. You can see like red, ecos, blue, and then normal. It's a little bit different. And check it out. I'm charging right now. It tells me how many minutes I have left till I get to 80%, how many miles I have, what the charging rate is. That's pretty cool. I really like that. There's also an augmented reality head-up display just on this GT line trim, and it really shows you a ton of information. Right overhead, you get a head-up display on this GT line model, and you can have different modes as far as like an augmented reality mode, which is like 3D, a standard mode, you can turn it off all together. Moving over here, also, by the way, this D-shaped steering wheel is just on the GT line. But what do you think of this two spoke, just like center spoke design right here? I actually like it. I don't really care what it looks like, but I like having all this openness right here, and it's still comfortable to hold on elsewhere. Then coming over here, we've got an over 12-inch display here as well, standard on every trim. This is just the eco screen, but there's kind of a lot that you can look at on here, which I'll show you. So to change stuff, you go to these buttons down here. This will actually change depending on if you want air conditioning or music and audio controls. Sometimes I'll have it on air conditioning and I'll think I'm turning up the volume without looking, but I'll accidentally turn up the heat in here. You have to tap that to go back and forth. It's kind of annoying and I don't really like that. That's just me though. Go to the home button on here and you can control everything else through the screen. I mean, there's a lot that you can do and control on here. You've got navigation, you've got Sirius XM, Wi-Fi capability. You can customize quite a bit of stuff on here too, from vehicle settings to the actual display. The bummer though is that if you want Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, it has to be wired in. It's kind of a bummer. I would definitely rather use wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto in my own maps and navigation and use the wireless charging dock right here than rely on Kia's own navigation system. I know some of you will, but you have to be wired in order to use this, but it can take up the whole screen. But there's 2 charging ports down there, which is nice. There's even a couple more charging ports and 12-volt power outlets right there. Then we have this split console design, so you've got extra little storage underneath of this whole area right here, which is pretty awesome. Like I showed you, you've got basically your climate controls, your audio controls. You can toggle between them. This is how you adjust your fan speed, which is kind of weird instead of having a dial. I just wish that we had our own separate controls, but it is what it is. Coming back, you've got your ventilated seats, heated seat buttons, gloss black, not a fan, and they're actually just touch sensitive, and they're not the most sensitive I've ever used. Start button is right there, and you've got your shifter for just your basic park, reverse, and drive rotary dial. Parking camera right here, check this out. I'm gonna put the camera on, and you've got a surround vision camera on here, which is optional on the middle trim and standard on the GT. You can change the views on here as well. So let me see here, let me look at a wheel. That really helps when you're parking. You can see this like top down view, pretty cool. I really like it. All right, y'all, and guess what? We just got to 80% and I'm 17 minutes in. Take a look at that. So we went from, I don't even remember how many miles we went to, but we got up to 203 miles of range, which isn't quite as much as I thought I would get going up there, but still, I mean, I love it. Quick, fast charging, definitely convenient. There's a brake hold button right here and parking sensors. A wireless charging mat is standard on every trim as well. And you've got a couple of bottle holders right here too that work just fine. Coming back, I love this little storage area right here. Good for keys or just little odd items. And then one big deep center console. No charging ports in there though. There's just a glove box right there. Pretty good size, and it's got a little two-tone thing right there. Or a little double level, which is pretty cool. Right up overhead, you're going to get an automatic dimming rearview mirror with garage controls. That's on the GT trim only. And then overhead, LED lights are actually standard on every single model. And then we've got a sunroof. The sunroof is on the GT trims as well. One thing to keep in mind is that the visibility out of here is definitely not great, but something to keep in mind. Now when it comes to the power and the battery and the electric components of this EV6, there are two different battery sizes, and those are the main things when it comes to EV, because that really dictates how much range you're going to have. So there's a first model, it's the light model, it's the base model, it's the less expensive, least powerful model, and it's going to have a 58 kilowatt hour size battery with 167 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. That will have a range of 232 miles, still not bad for a base model, but it's going to be rear-wheel drive only. The next option is what we have right here, and this isn't actually an engine. I'll show you what this is in a little bit, but on the Wind and this GT line, you're going to get a 77.5 kilowatt hour battery with an electric motor for rear-wheel drive and an additional electric motor for all-wheel drive if you get that optional. One thing to keep in mind though is that the all-wheel drive model, only the all-wheel drive model, will get a heat pump and HVAC system. I'm not sure exactly how that plays with hot and cold temperatures, but it might have an impact on your range. The best range you can get with the EV6 is with this particular large battery model, one electric motor, rear-wheel drive, and that's 310 miles of electric range. So if you want to convert that to like miles per gallon, there's an MPGe rating that each of these vehicles can get for EV models, and the rear-wheel drive models are 117 combined MPGe, and all-wheel drive's 105 MPGe. But check this out, most EVs have a front trunk, or at least some do. Some have a good opening right here. This one still has a lot of hardware right here, and it looks like there's an engine right here, like an engine cover, but check this out. You actually have a little storage area. It's not very big, but at least it gives you an extra little area for storage. The funny thing is, you could probably fit a charging cord in there, but joke's on you, Kia doesn't give you a charging cord. We'll talk about that more. Now when it comes to charging the EV6, it's pretty simple. It's on the back passenger side, and you can open it from the inside, or if it's unlocked, you can tap on it like that, and it will just automatically open for you. You can do regular plug-in, or you can go to a DC fast charger. I'll put a link in the description that shows you a chart with all the different charging times, but here's what you need to know. First thing to know, Kia does not give you a charging cord, like not even a level 1 charging cord that goes into your 3-prong outlet. Granted, those charge very slowly, but sometimes that might be all that you need most of the time, and Kia doesn't give it to you. Kind of a bummer. The Nissan Leaf that I was just recently in, another EV, gave you a level 1 cord with a level 2 adapter. So if you had a 220 volt or 240 volt plug that you could plug into, you had it. You didn't have to buy anything separate, and you can charge overnight full battery with those kind of chargers. You don't get anything with this. But the good news is both the small and large battery can take quite a fast charge. In fact, with a DC fast charger, a fast one, you can charge from 10% to 80% in just 18 minutes and get over 200 miles of range in just that time. That's really awesome. If you do get a level 1 charger for yourself, it's going to take forever to charge, like multiple days to fully charge. But if you get a level 2 charger installed in your garage or wherever you charge, you can charge it overnight. All right, y'all, we are now behind the wheel in this EV6, and the first thing I want to talk about is all the driver assist tech. There is a ton on every trim, and a little bit more as you move up. So Kia and Hyundai's highway drive assist is fantastic, and it can center you in your lane very well. Smart cruise control. This has navigation based smart cruise control. It has a lane change assist to where when you're on the interstate in your lane and it recognizes it, it will let you know if there's anybody in your blind spot, and if you signal, it will literally start moving you over. I mean, we're getting further and further into the driver assist technology. You can turn that stuff off if you want, but you've got blind spot indicators in both sides. You've got front and back parking sensors. I mean, it is just, it's loaded. But another thing, as far as the first impression, it's that it's very smooth, it's very quiet, and you can probably hear some of that sound. I'm going to adjust the sound as we go. So you can adjust the vehicle sound on the screen by going to your settings and active sound design. You can turn it off to where there's really no electric sound like that. You can have different settings on here. You can quiet it down as well. I'm gonna put it on a stylish mode. It was just in dynamic, which makes it sound a little bit more powerful. There's a cyber mode to make it sound a little more futuristic. So just some interesting and weird stuff there. Okay, we're just in normal mode right now with stylish sound. And it's just very smooth accelerating. I'll go through quite a bit because there's a lot to talk about with this. The head-up display is pretty big and very clear. It shows you a ton of information. This display is also massive. I mean, you've got so much to look at in here. Don't get distracted. But it's a smooth riding EV. For all EVs that I've been in, I think this is the smoothest one. I haven't been in a ton, but just gotta say it. I like it. I like the way it drives. The paddles here, they're not actually paddle shifters. They're for regenerative braking, which I will talk a little bit more about throughout the test drive, but I'm on level 0. You can adjust on the screen how much deceleration your brakes will give you when you're coasting. I'm on 0, just in normal mode. If I let off the gas, I just coast. I mean, it just freely coasts for a long time, very easily. If I hit the paddle on the left to level 1, level 2, level 3, or even max, which is I pedal, it significantly slows me down. And it captures all the potential energy with the regenerative brakes to help get you more efficiency. Then you can accelerate like normal, but as soon as you let off the accelerator, it's like you're braking. Now I'm gonna get out of that mode. And we'll drive in that mode a little bit more later, but I'm just in level 0. I honestly keep it in level 0 because it feels the most natural. It just feels like a normal car. I'm just not used to the I pedal, but maybe you'll really like it. We'll go through the drive modes in a little bit, so I'm just going to quickly go to eco mode. Eco mode kind of re-emphasizes or overemphasizes some of the braking again. You can see the meter on here, the braking charge meter, the power meter, so you know when you're capturing energy. I'll go through the drive modes a little bit more, but in acceleration, the eco is a little bit more sluggish. You know, it's going to give you better efficiency, but it's going to make it not as fun and as powerful too. You can keep it in eco mode if you want. I'm going to go to sport mode. It changes the gauges and then pedal down, instant torque. There's that sound, and that gets you up to speed pretty quick. This is definitely not as fast. In fact, I'm not even going to brake here. I'm going to use my paddles to go to level 3, hold us around this corner. And the weight of the battery is at the very bottom of the vehicle, and it keeps this car very well planted to the road. I mean, it handles well, it's got good steering, it's got good ride comfort, it feels very well balanced. And I'm gonna go back to level 0. Torque is instant, so I mean, that's one thing. Pedal down. You get going very quickly with the torque here. That's one pro to electric cars, is that as soon as you put the pedal down, you're going. And no, not too many of you are going to drive your electric car like this. I'm going to go into eco mode, then I'm going to go all the way up into I pedal, which is the max setting for your regenerative brakes. Without touching the brake, it's slowing me down, and it'll bring me all the way down to a stop. You can adjust the deceleration amount on the screen too. But let me put it in the cyber sound here. Okay, now it's on the cyber sound. Do you kind of hear that? I'm gonna go to dynamic. And then stylish. Whoops, stylish. So you can change the way your vehicle sounds or completely turn it off if you want to. Make it real quiet. That's another thing, quietness. We'll talk about that in a little bit too. But I've got to say, I just enjoy driving this. I mean, it's fun to drive. It's pretty practical. It's decently spacious in here for this front seat as well. The glass here is going to be laminated from wind noise on the top couple trims. This one is going to be laminated on all trims. So that helps with wind noise. These vehicles are going to be very what's it called? The wind coming by you. Very aerodynamic. There it is. Couldn't think of it. But I'm still in I pedal, the max regenerative mode, and I'm not touching the brake or the accelerator. It's going to slow me down before I even get here. So I can use my accelerator to go, and then it's gonna slow me down without me even needing to touch the brake. Then I can just get going, and it definitely is gonna feel more sluggish right off the bat. But we're on a rough textured road. This is a road surface. I do a lot of my, a type of road surface. I do some of my audio or decibel rating tests, and this car did very well. The EV6 was quiet on the interstate and on highways just like this. The road noise is good. I've had no rattles. That's just my tripod over here making noise. It's just been a very quiet, peaceful car to drive. Now I'm gonna go back into, I'm just gonna go into normal mode. I'm gonna take the degenerative or regenerative brakes off. And then if you get on the pedal, you still got good acceleration. So for example, passing someone feels excellent. I mean, it's really easy to just get around somebody very quickly. The smart cruise control is excellent. The lane centering system is excellent. In fact, I just have that. I turned it on right now. I have a demo with the Telluride as well as the Hyundai Tucson if you want to see those. They don't have the lane change assist like this does, but when you're on the interstate, hit your blinker and it's going to move you over. But like I said, kind of wrap things up, it's comfortable, it's quiet, it's quick enough. The all-wheel drive two-motor one is going to be definitely quicker, very fast actually, and it's just a nice vehicle to drive. So to wrap things up on this 2022 Kia EV6, I really like what Kia did for an EV. It's still practical, it's spacious, it's got good range availability, a less expensive model, less powerful, but a more fun all-wheel drive model too. So they kind of hit every nail as far as what some EV buyers might be looking for. There's a lot of standard features, a lot of safety tech in here too. And if you take away the electric components of it and you just look at the comfort and the space, that's pretty good too. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are down below and what you think of this compared to some other competitors like from Volkswagen or the new Mach-E or maybe even the Tesla. Leave your thoughts below, but thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, a thumbs up would be super helpful. I also have a night video of this EV6 if you want to see that below. Check it out at night, it's pretty cool. Thank you so much and have a great day.